Tactically, he looks like he's very high level. The way he speaks to the media, the way he handles himself, being perfect. Liverpool Football Club's a difficult club to play for, so I can only imagine what it's like to manage and lead.
Just 6 months ago, they were kings. The confetti was still drying on the steps of the Liver building.
Tsimikas. Glancing header, it's in!
Now, they're on a trajectory to be the 5th worst defending champion in Premier League history, fighting for respect in the bottom half of the table. Forget fighting for the title, Liverpool are facing a battle for their identity. This is the shock of the season.
Why are things not working out with Liverpool? Let's come to you first, Righty. What's happening with Liverpool?
I don't think they understand what the manager wants them to do. The way they're playing, they either win or they...
And it turns the Premier League on its head. The reigning champion is now the biggest underdog of all. The world is watching to see if this colossal club can remember how to win, or if the fall will become fatal. If you're watching this, you already know the brutal truth. The time for denial, for excuses, and for calling this a blip is over. Liverpool Football Club, the reigning Premier League champions, are in the midst of a historic crisis. We have reached the point of no return. Okay, we must speak seriously about how bad Liverpool are right now. The numbers are less a statistic and more a public humiliation. 8 defeats in their last 11 games, a negative goal difference. They're leaking goals at a rate that would concede over 60 goals this season. This is not the measured evolution of a title-winning side. This is a catastrophic collapse. And that places the spotlight, white-hot and unforgiving, on one man. The question being whispered in the stands and shouted in the pubs is stark. How bad is Arne Slot? To be fair to the Dutchman, he inherited a squad profile built for the physical demands of Klopp's gegenpressing, and he delivered a title in his first season, a feat that speaks to his immediate tactical acumen. But the reality of the 2025-26 season is that the problems are structural, systemic, and relentless. Liverpool are facing serious problems this season, problems that require more than just confidence. They require a fundamental tactical reset. This is the deep dive analysis into why Slot's controlled symphony has become pure chaos, and the 3 non-negotiable fixes he must implement immediately to save the season. Arne Slot's initial success lay in reducing the chaos. Klopp's heavy metal football was replaced by a more patient, possession-focused style. Slot's Liverpool, in his title-winning season, saw a greater focus on control and precision, increasing their passing accuracy and reducing the number of shots they faced. His core tactical principles were genius in isolation. A. The emphasis on central overload. Slot's blueprint, adapted from his Feyenoord success, sought to dominate Zone 14, the central attacking area just outside the box. By prioritizing short central passing and using inverted fullbacks like Bradley in a deeper McAllister-esque role, the aim was to flood the midfield with bodies. This created numerical superiority and opportunities for third-man combinations, moving the ball quickly through the most dangerous part of the pitch. B. The calculated press. Unlike Klopp's relentless team-wide press, Slot introduced trigger-based pressing, a more selective strategy designed to conserve energy. Players would wait for the opposition to make a second pass before pouncing, using the touchline as an extra defender to lock the opponent into a trap. This was supposed to make Liverpool smarter, not slower. C. The defensive paradox begins. But the current season, it's exposed the catastrophic flaw of this transition. While the control is there in the build-up, the defensive profile of the squad does not match the system's demands. The team profile is physical and dynamic, built for verticality and counter-pressing. When forced into a slower, more deliberate passing game, they expose their vulnerability when possession is lost. The intended control is undermined by the inherited DNA. The reality is that Slot's system, when played with this specific squad, is structurally unsound in transition. Opponents don't need an elaborate plan, they just need courage. Flaw 1. The counter-attack catastrophe, rest defense. This is the most glaring issue because the fullbacks and midfielders are positioned so high to facilitate the central build-up. The rest defense, the structure the back four and the pivot leave behind, is completely inadequate. As expert analysis has shown, Liverpool have the 4th worst expected goals against (XGA) in the Premier League. The simple long ball over the top or a quick vertical pass down the wings leads to a clear-cut opportunity. This is why the team looks brittle. They're conceding high-quality chances routinely. Flaw 2. The exposed pivot and pressing resistance. Slot needs midfielders who are supreme at pressing resistance, players who can receive the ball under intense pressure, pivot, and move the ball forward safely. While Alexis Mac Allister and Ryan Gravenberch are talented, they lack the raw physicality and specialized skill set needed for the lone defensive midfielder (DM) role in a high-press environment. When opponents target the pivot, the turnovers are immediate and lethal, leaving Virgil van Dijk and Konate completely isolated. As one source noted, the team is lacking physicality and is being hurt by the opposition's quick, direct approach. Flaw 3. The set-piece puzzle, a false sense of security. Finally, the team is suffering from persistent failures at both ends of the pitch on set plays and in late-game management. The one area that should be a fortress, set pieces, has become inconsistent. Last season, Slot's hybrid zonal man marking system was impeccable. Yet, this season, vital goals have been conceded from simple indirect free kicks and throw-ins. Conceding goals from simple indirect free kicks highlights a lack of basic organization and physical desire. While the underlying structure might be good, the current lack of confidence means basic defensive cohesion. The willingness to win the first header or track a runner is missing. This compounds the sense that the team breaks under pressure, a huge character flaw. Furthermore, Slot's desperate late-game substitutions, such as removing a centre-back to overload with attackers against Nottingham Forest, have proven to create noise, not goals. It is the tactical equivalent of panic. Flaw 4. The £225 million attacking paralysis. The defensive collapse is amplified by the fact that the attack, despite massive investment, is completely paralyzed. The team is creating chances, but the efficiency has evaporated. The single greatest symbol of this failure is the British record signing, Alexander Isak. Bought for a staggering £125 million, Isak has been criticised as a wasteful signing and remains goalless in the league. His anonymous performance against Nottingham Forest, registering the fewest touches of any starter, is an indictment of the tactical plan. The $100 million signing of Florian Wirtz has yielded a similar league drought. Slot bet his career on these two players to be the face of his new attack, and they've returned 0 league goals combined. The chaos is compounded by the uncharacteristic struggle of the team's talisman, Mohamed Salah. Opta show his goal and assist output is down by 50% compared to the start of last season. His shots on target are down sharply. Slot himself has openly admitted that the recent tactical approach to use Salah did not work as planned and disrupted the team's overall balance. This is not just a form issue, it's a systemic breakdown in the final third. 8 defeats in 11 games. The numbers scream failure. But what if the fix is simple? What if the difference between a champion and a relegation candidate is not a 100 million transfer, but a single, brutal change of philosophy? The genius of Slot's system, it's always been his control, but that control is the very thing making them vulnerable. The only way out of this chaos is through a tactical compromise. Arne Slot must kill his darlings, abandon the tactical purity of his blueprint, and embrace the gritty pragmatism of the underdog. If he can make this one non-negotiable change, restoring the central defensive shield, he doesn't just save the season, he defines his Liverpool legacy as the manager who survived the biggest collapse in the club's modern history. The team is not short on talent, but it is short on balance and stability. To stop the bleeding, Arne Slot cannot rely on waiting for the summer window. He must make immediate, painful, and non-negotiable changes. This is the expert consensus on the roadmap to recovery. Fix 1. Tactical compromise, the 4-3-3 restoration. Slot must immediately abandon the rigid 4-2-3-1 that leaves the midfield perpetually exposed and revert to a more defensive 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1 that shifts into a fixed 4-3-3 shape in the defensive phase. The action: play with a true specialized single pivot. Wataru Endo is the immediate temporary solution, flanked by 2 box-to-box number 8s, for example Mac Allister and Szoboszlai. The benefit: this creates the central defensive triangle that provides necessary protection, forcing opponents wide and giving the centre-backs more time to organize. As Slot seeks more control, this is the most secure foundation from which to build. Fix 2. Personnel reset. End the role confusion. Slot's unwillingness to drop his star players, most notably Mohamed Salah, and his experiments with positional changes are hobbling the entire structure. The action: Salah Isak. The team is demonstrably unbalanced with a struggling Salah in the lineup. As pundits have argued, the international break offers the chance for a tough, honest conversation. Crucially, the Isak project must be temporarily paused. The front line should prioritize cohesion and work rate, Cody Gakpo, Ugo Ekitike, or others over the price tag until the midfield is stable. This restores the defensive discipline the fullbacks desperately need. The action: fullback CMs. Stop playing players out of their best position. Szoboszlai must return to his creative midfield role. Joe Gomez must be the priority fullback for defensive security over more attacking options like Kerkez or Bradley until the ship is steadied. The message must be clear: specialization over versatility. Fix 3. The January imperative: recruit the missing profile. Looking ahead to the winter window, the transfer strategy must pivot entirely. Slot's title-winning summer signings, Wirtz, Isak, focused on breaking down low blocks. The team now needs physical stability. The profile: Liverpool must target a specialized defensive deep midfielder, a player who excels in ball recovering, tackling, and possessing elite pressing resistance. Someone like Zubimendi, who was linked previously, or a more physical profile. The goal: this new number 6 must be a player who can break the press and be trusted to hold position, acting as the consistent, unmoving shield that allows the creative players ahead of them to flourish without defensive anxiety. They have the money, they have the talent, but what they lack, what Klopp's era was built on, is the will to fight. They lose a goal and they break, they face a high press and they fold. The true crisis at Anfield, it's not the structure of the 4-3-3, it's the fragility of the champion's soul. Can Arne Slot, the quiet tactician, inspire the emotional comeback that is this club's demands? This isn't about XG or pressing intensity anymore. This is about football's cruelest test. How hard do you fight when the whole world expects you to surrender? The road back to the top starts with the mentality of an underdog, and Slot must rediscover the fire that Liverpool forgot how to wield. Arne Slot's history shows he is a details-obsessive manager, and the board believes his current slump contains the blueprint for his revival. He is a title winner, but that fact is meaningless if the defensive foundation continues to crumble. The greatest tragedy of this season is that the shift from Klopp's dynamism to Slot's control has created a Frankenstein's monster, an attack that requires central support but a defense that can't provide it. Slot has two choices: remain tactically rigid, insisting the players adapt to his system, or make the painful, pragmatic compromises outlined here. To save his job and his team, he must temporarily sacrifice the purity of his vision for the pragmatic necessity of stability. He must be willing to be ugly, to be defensive, and to be boring until the confidence returns. The time for talking about how bad Liverpool is this season must end. The time for implementing these fixes is now. Let me know in the comments which player should Arne Slot bench immediately to restore balance. And if you want more deep dive tactical analysis, hit that subscribe button.